Well, hello, everyone, and welcome inside FNL Lacrosse, presented by the New Hampshire Tomahawks. Nick Anastas, Chris Cameron with you. Week number 4, just about midway through the regular season in the lacrosse world. Over the next 60 minutes, 3 guests, all of them ready to provide some good stuff. We'll start on the girls' side with Allison Jordan, a senior for Red Hot Sauhegan. Sabres crashing the D1 party. And we'll find out the secret to Sauhegan's success from the Endicott-bound senior. Bottom of the hour, Caleb Young joins us, the Bishop Girton senior. On his way to Stony Brook, Cardinals, they're back to their winning ways, as expected. And then at 6:45, a boys D2 preview with Portsmouth head coach and friend of the show, Chad Viser. We'll see exactly where the Clippers are at the midway point on the eve of their showdown with Derryfield. Let's welcome him in. My co-host, head coach of the Bishop Girton Cardinals, and the founder of the New Hampshire Tomahawks, Chris Cameron. Coach, how are you?
Good, Nick. How you doing? Thursday
Let's
night.
start with your Cardinals. It's been a great week, and there's a lot to get to, but I want to touch on a milestone for one of your players. Brady Dumont, of course, he was on this show a couple of weeks back. He recently clocked in his 200th career point, joining an exclusive club. Coach, how exclusive is that club? 100 is a big deal. That's a major milestone. 200 is rarefied.
So where did you get? Where was it? 200 goals or 200 points? 200 points. That's. I wasn't aware of that. I guess I should know. I knew that he was closing in on it. But it takes to be a 4-year contributor to be able to hit that. And he's a lot of those were goals. I don't know what the breakdown was, but he's turned into a complete player, and our offense kind of revolves around him when he's going. He was a shooter in his career, like his freshman year. He was 30. It was 30 goals and maybe 3 assists, something along those lines. And he was just a finisher. Now he's a creator, and he could do it. He could do it off the dodge as well as off time and room.
Yeah. I believe that milestone came, Coach, in your win over Merrimack. 18-7 was the final. And again, that's according to our friend Joe Marshallena over at nh-highschoolsports.com.
Okay, yeah. It was 17-2 was the final.
17-2. There you go. Coach, you've got, as I mentioned, we've got a lot to get to, including a very good game last night here in our Friday Night Lights New Hampshire game of the week between Pinkerton and Londonderry, next door neighbors getting up. And the Lancers early in the third quarter held a 5-4 lead, trying to knock off the Astros for the first time in years. And that was all it took for Pinkerton to wake up. They rattled off 5 straight. Londonderry scored the last 2, but it was a 2-goal difference in the end, 9-7 the final, and that game is still up on our YouTube channel. Your initial thoughts there on both Pinkerton getting their 5th win and Londonderry hanging around?
Yeah, I mean, it was great to see Londonderry, Coach Wiedenfeld, get his team to play hard and to improve, because they had a little bit of a rough go for a while, losing to Concord. And Pinkerton's good. Pinkerton lost 8-4 to a very good Hingham team. They don't give up goals. They don't give up a lot of goals. And I'm not sure. I was only able to catch the second half because we had a game. We were at Merrimack yesterday, so I got home, raced home, and put the broadcast on. And I saw that Londonderry was facing off with long poles. Was that all game, or was that just something that they did in the second half?
It was all game. Cam Brutus took the majority for Londonderry.
Yeah, so their face-off guy, maybe he must be out hurt or something, because Parsons is a very good face-off guy. So to be up 5-4 late third without your face-off guy is a good job. And they played hard. I mean, they have some poles. Cam Brutus is good. Cam Ayotte was up and down the field all over the place. Ewart was good. So they definitely have poles. They're just a little bit offensively challenged. And that's something, Coach Weedy ran some really good sets out of a timeout. It was kind of a ghost screen with a pick at X, and you had picked up on that, the call, and that's what they're going to have to do, is run a lot of set plays in order to get goals. And you guys also talked about how their goalie's excellent, and he's like one of their leading scorers at attack.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Colby Waldron doing a great
Alden, yeah.
job. And then the kid that came in yesterday came in with 10, at least 10 saves
Oh, he was good.
in
Was,
that as well.
he
He was very good.
yeah.
So Londonderry's at 4-4, Pinkerton's at 5-5. Those teams right now at the 4-5 spot in the D1 standings, trailing, of course, Bishop Girton, Bedford, and Exeter. You've got Exeter tomorrow, Coach. You've already faced them once. They gave you a pretty good fight. I think it was an 11-8 final for your team. What changes the second time around tomorrow night between the Cardinals and the Blue Hawks?
Well, that's what makes it so interesting, kind of playing in such a tight window. Back-to-back Fridays we're playing them. They were up 2-0 on us. They were up 5-4 at the half. They came out with a lot of energy, and we didn't match that to start. But at halftime, I challenged them a little bit. We came out of the locker room on a 5-0 run. We went up 9-5. Our goalies, Mike McDonough, got the start, played very well. So did Will Murphy, and Ethan Burnage for them was great. So it's the team that doesn't make adjustments is the team that is at a disadvantage. And usually if you win, you don't make adjustments. So I know Coach Bruce is going to make some adjustments. I'm not sure what, but I know that we made a few adjustments on both sides of the ball getting ready for this game because Marshall Lashowitz had 6 goals against us. I can't remember the last time. Well, Brody Helton had 5 against us when we played Bedford, but I can't remember the last time anyone had 6 goals against us. So, that's going to be key is we got to put a little more emphasis on him. We were slow making the adjustment to get Finn Moran to bump Finn up on him. And Alex Dumont has had the matchup versus Owen Williams the first time. Owen scored first play of the game, and then Alex did a good job after that. So those are the guys that we have to watch. And we have to be better shooters because Ethan Burnage just anything soft, he's going to just eat up on you. And also he's going to make some saves that he shouldn't make. So that's the key. And then the faceoffs were Paulo Vasquez was 78%. He was 18 out of 23. So that's going to be tough for him to do that again against Will McElroy because Will's one of the top faceoff guys in the state, but Paulo's the best. So, can Paulo get a 78% again? That's going to be a big part of that game too because the shots were almost even and we beat, when you have that kind of and we turned it over 15 times, which was a big problem for us. And then the ground balls, you take away the faceoffs from the ground balls, and they outground balled us in that game. So we're gonna have to do a better job, winning that part of the game, that phase of the game.
Other D1 news, Coach. Let's talk about Concord for a minute. A young team under Coach Smith. They put up 14 as they doubled up Dover in their latest outing, 14-7. Carter Doherty, 4 goals, 6 assists. That's a program that has come a long way over the last couple of years under Coach Smith, and seemingly the future is getting brighter by the game.
Yeah, he's a terrific coach. He's a patient coach. He teaches the fundamentals. I watched them play Bedford, and I was like, whoa, it's going to be a tough year for Concord. And then they lost 2 games to Merrimack by a goal, but since then they've just been getting better and better. They beat Londonderry. As you said, Dover doesn't give up many goals. They play very good defense. When I saw 14 that they put up, so Carter Doherty 4 and 6. His brother Ryan was just named the America East Freshman of the Year. So terrific, very similar players, both lefties. Concord relies a lot on Carter Doherty. I mean, he was in on 10 of their 14. And I've seen some crazy stats from him. He's the key to that offense. But they're a team that's certainly getting better, and you could put them in that mix with Londonderry and Pinkerton for that 4 seed because Concord's schedule is not as tough as Pinkerton's. Pinkerton is really playing a grinded out schedule, and they're playing Bedford twice, and then they play that tough Massachusetts schedule.
Coach, let's switch gears to Division II. Recently, Dairyfield caught their first loss. Of course, it was out of state against Westwood, but that leaves, I believe, only one remaining unbeaten, and that, of course, is Portsmouth, and we'll break that down further at 6:45 when their head coach, Chad Viser, joins us. But recently, they doubled up Hollis Brookline, 18-9. Of course, the Cavs are no joke, and Zach Amen keeps doing what he's been doing really for a long time, scoring goals. 7 goals in that victory as that Portsmouth attack continues to impress. We'll break down a little further the Derryfield Portsmouth matchup, which comes your way next week here on Friday Night Lights, New Hampshire, a week from tonight, Thursday, May 9th. But assess the top of the D2 bracket. And of course, we should also mention a double OT thriller yesterday, 10-9 Timberlane over St. Thomas, where Rocco Sorayas scores the game winner. Your thoughts, Coach, on the top 4 or 5 teams in D2 at the midway point of the season?
Yeah, I think you have to. I mean, everybody's been talking all year about Derryfield, defending champ, and Portsmouth for good reason. Derryfield's a defending champion. They're really talented. Portsmouth, I was really impressed watching them play Exeter. But St. Thomas took Portsmouth to the wire. It was 10-9 game. And then yesterday it was a 10-9 game. So you have to put both St. Thomas and Timberlane in that mix. So you have a 4-team division. I don't know if, you could see Hollis, these you said they got doubled up 18-9, Goffstown, Wyndham, those teams, Ruppy Haley's Oyster River team, those teams are on the outside looking in. There's some depth in Division 2, but those 4 teams, Portsmouth, Derryfield, Timberlane, St. Thomas are, they're all capable of winning it all. 4 very good teams.
You mentioned briefly Wyndham. They just keep winning. They haven't faced the stiffest competition yet, but at 8-1, that's hard to ignore.
Yeah, and their one loss was a little bit of a big upset. Not a little bit; it was a big upset by Oyster River. So you throw that out, then they're certainly in the mix. They have a lot of, they're deep. They have a lot of D guys. I haven't seen them, so I don't know their personnel that well. But they're certainly, I don't know if they can compete with the top 4 teams, but they're certainly like that 5th team right now. They're good. They're certainly good, and they're tough to score on.
Let's go to the other side with the girls, and again, we will welcome in Souhegan senior Allison Jordan momentarily. But it seems like the way Souhegan's been playing, Coach, it's now really a 4-team race in Division 1 as well. After the Sabres knock off Portsmouth, they took Bedford to the ropes. Bulldogs ended up winning that one by a goal. But Souhegan, they've won 6 of their last 8 and have held their own, if not beaten, the best of the best.
Yeah, against the Iron. I mean, the first game of the year, BG beat them up pretty good. I think it was 13-2, something, or 12-3 in that range. It was a pretty significant win for BG. With 12-4. Yep. So since then, Souhegan's done nothing but get better. They beat Portsmouth, lost to Bedford by a goal, lost to Pinkerton by a goal. So they're, as you said, the broadcast next Next Wednesday you're doing the Bedford BG game
at Bedford.
BBG. So you have, I think, 4 teams that have kind of, was it 5? You have Portsmouth, Bedford, BG, Pinkerton, and now Souhegan. So you have 5 teams that established themselves. There's some depth, and Exeter and Londonderry are 2 good teams too. South is a little bit on the outside looking in, but those 5 teams, any of them could win the state championship this year. I mean, there's some really, it's a deep, talented Division 1 this year.
You mentioned Pinkerton. They've quietly won 7 straight after rallying yesterday to top Londonderry 10-5. Hannah Lazoskis continues to have a standout season, 4 goals, 2 assists there. And Sarah DiClemente in net had 12 saves for the Astros. And then, of course, Bishop Girton, year in and year out, on the short list, an 18-7 win. That's the boys' score. Sorry. BG 17-2 over Merrimack on the boys' side, 17-6. 18-7. I've got my numbers right now. 18-7 BG on the girls' side over Merrimack. Friend of the program, Cam Schmidt. 2 goals, 2 assists there. And in Division 2, Coach, St. Thomas, they've got 100 goal scorer or point scorer in Kensley Harris after a 22-5 win over Campbell. We haven't paid enough attention to Division 2 on the girls' side. What do you see there?
Yeah, St. Thomas, I'm watching them. They're putting up some numbers. They're putting up some big numbers. So, like, I could look up the standings right now. just to see who the teams
Wyndham has played
are.
well.
Yeah, Wyndham BG beat Wyndham today. So that was a crossover. That was the second game that BG also played Winnicott and handled them. But let's just take a look here. Division II standings. Yeah, Wyndham and Winnicott and Merrimack Valley. Timberlake. Yeah, I mean you go deep because Hollis Brookline's down there. They're very good. They had a really good game with Bow. Well, Bow's Division III, but that was a 1-goal game yesterday. So Hollis Brookline, Goffstown, Mercer McLaughlin's Goffstown team, Oyster River, Hanover. So you have a lot of teams. Wyndham kind of stands out. Winnicott is on top at 6-1 with Wyndham at 7-1. So you have a lot of teams, and then St. Thomas. Are they in Division?
2, I believe.
Two.
Right?
What
Yeah.
are they 3? I should know
Well, we
this
know the
here.
boys are 2. Figured the girls would be D2 as well.
St.
But
Thomas is
either way,
D3.
those.
Yeah. Yeah. So St.
Okay.
Thomas. So that shapes up. That's an interesting. St. Thomas plays. Sorry, them and Bow are the 2. I mean, those are 2 very good teams playing Division III, where they can compete with any of the teams in Division II, and maybe certainly some of the teams in Division I. So those are 2 teams that we have to watch out for. But St. Thomas, yeah, they're scoring some goals.
Mm. All right, let's welcome in our first guest. Live from Amherst, the Salhegan senior, Allison Jordan, joining us. She is committed to play next season for Endicott. Allison, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank
You
you.
guys have been the talk of the town as of late with the way you've been playing. What's been the secret? What's been the difference over the last couple of weeks that have allowed you to win now 6 of the last 8?
Yeah, so we have a lot of young players, a lot of talent on our team this year. And I think in the beginning of the year, we were just trying to focus on starting to play well together. And now that we've been playing for a couple of games, we're halfway through the season now, I think it's finally clicked and we're starting to see some great things happen.
Yeah. Has it been that simple? Just a matter of getting reps and getting familiar with new teammates? You're one of the seniors, of course, but you mentioned you've got a young squad. Has it really been just a matter of getting familiar with each other?
I think there's a lot more to it than that. I think that one of the things we've been mainly focusing on this year is we picked this one word together, and we're focusing on working together, playing together. And I think that the more we learn how to make unselfish plays and stuff like that, we're beginning to see a lot of results. So, yeah, it is that we've been more familiar with each other, and the team chemistry's up, and I think it's just looking great from here.
Yeah. Now you play defense.
Yes.
Usually we have a midfielder, an attackman, sometimes a goaltender, but we don't have too many defenders. Not enough, in my opinion, anyway. What drew you to defense? I guess as opposed because everybody wants to score, I'd imagine, but you being one of the better all around players, anchor that defense. What was behind that? I guess early decision to become a defender.
Yeah, I became a defender pretty early. I'd say probably around like early middle school. And I think that decision came from I really liked being able to, I know this sounds kind of contradictory, but dictate the play. I feel like on defense, you can really have a lot of power over what the offense does. And I personally love being able to like mess with them, get in their head, like make plays on defense. And sometimes it gets overlooked because like you said, a lot of people do like to score goals, but I really live to get a ground ball, to get an interception, and all that stuff.
Mm. As a senior, I'd imagine you're one of the team leaders. Describe your leadership style to us. Is it more by example or you more of a vocal leader?
As a defender and a senior captain on defense, it's very important to be vocal. And I feel like oftentimes I do take that vocal role. Communication is really key on defense, as it is anywhere else on the field. And as a senior captain, I really have been taking on that role, not only by example, but also by communication.
Mm. Coach?
Allison, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me.
So my segment, we talk about the recruiting piece of it, and as Nick mentioned, you committed to Endicott, but your story is a little bit different than a lot of players out there because you were injured. You were uncommitted at the time. You were injured over the winter, so you were not able to play the summer leading up to your senior year, which was a big recruiting. So talk us a little bit how you were able to fight through that adversity and ultimately how you wound up at Endicott.
Yeah, definitely. As you mentioned, I did tear my ACL in the winter of my junior year. And it was really hard to go from the role of being a player and a contributor on the field to taking that step back. But it really gave me a lot of depth. And as I took that step back, I was able to see all the things that were important to me, not only about lacrosse, but being a part of a team. And I had to advocate for myself very much. I went to prospect days just to be there, be a part of the teams, see how the chemistry was. And when I visited Endicott, I really, really felt connected to the school. I love the campus. The team is amazing, and the coaches really are amazing. And I just knew it was where I was meant to be. And even though I was injured, I was able to show my commitment and to show that I deserved a spot on the team.
Yeah, that's great advice to some of the players out there. Yeah, they had seen you play the summer before leading up into your junior year and then the fall, so they had a pretty good idea. They were hoping that you were gonna be able to be in their recruiting, to be able to get you to visit campus. That's how good a player you were, and it certainly worked out for them. And I think it's a great spot for you as well. So. We look forward to following your career down there. And as Nick said earlier, wow, so Hegan is certainly is turning some heads right now. You certainly have the attention of the rest of Division I. So good luck the rest of the season.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Allison, what are you going to study? Any idea yet, or is it too early?
Yeah, I'm gonna study exercise science next year. That's another thing that I learned through my injury is how much I want to continue to keep sports in my life all throughout my life. I'd love to become a physical therapist or an athletic trainer and continue on with the process. As I saw so many people helping me throughout my injury, I'd love to be a part of that. So I'm gonna study exercise science at Endicott in hopes to furthering sports studies into my future.
Good stuff. Final question. How do you keep the party going? How do you keep the ball rolling here, second half of the season, and then into the playoffs? How do you keep playing well?
Yeah, I think a lot of that's going to come from playing well together. I think a lot of the times we just need to work well as a team and understand that it doesn't matter who got the goal, it's just that it went in the net. And with a lot of the young players, I think that it's all just coming together. And obviously, we're pushing towards trying to be our strongest as playoffs comes up. And yeah, I just think keeping the momentum going will really, really help us.
Well, we appreciate your time tonight. Thank you for coming on. Good luck next week, next month, and then next year as well. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And again, Allison Jordan, senior, very well spoken, hit on some good points there, coach, and obviously Endicott's going to be getting a great player, but Souhegan right now has one of the better defenders in Division One.
Yeah, that's piece there. The interview was interesting on so many different levels. Was one, her mindset with the injury. Two, how she likes to mess with players, get inside their head and interrupt the offense, which you're right. We haven't had, a lot of the D players don't get the limelight. They don't get the glory. So maybe that's something I got to make a note, make sure we include some more D players in the mix. But, that's what she likes to do. She likes to just be a shutdown defender, and no matter what it takes, which is important. Every team needs those players. And she learned, is another thing she learned during was, what she wanted to major in. And that's,
Right.
very, very interesting. And Endicott has a great program for that. So, yeah, she's a terrific high character. The whole Jordan family is starting with the parents, Gail and Andy, very good high character, and you could see it just comes through right on the interview.
Yeah. It seems like this season in particular on the girls' side in Division One shaping up to be a good one with the amount of contenders, Sauhegan back in that mix. It's going to be fun. And speaking of, we've got BG at Bedford in our next Friday Night Lights New Hampshire Game of the Week broadcast. Comes your way on Wednesday at 5:30. So what we're going to do next week is take this show and move it over to Tuesday before returning to our normal slot for the rest of the year on Wednesday. So the next FNL Lacrosse broadcast presented by the New Hampshire Tomahawks is Tuesday night, 6 o'clock. Wednesday, we have BG at Bedford. On the girls' side, 5:30 is the face-off there. And then back to the boys for Thursday. Highly anticipated battle from the Queen City between Portsmouth and Derryfield. On the other side, Caleb Young, the senior from Bishop Girton, on his way to Stony Brook. He's played in a few big games already in his career for the Cardinals. We find out what makes him tick next. You are watching FNL Lacrosse, presented by the New Hampshire Tomahawks.
Our broadcast today, as it always is brought to you by Beals Insurance Agency, with locations now in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you both the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Just call 603-471-9999 or visit BealsInsurance.com to request a free quote and start saving money today. Again, that's BealsInsurance.com. The New Hampshire Tomahawks promote the highest level of club lacrosse competition, not just in the state, but in the country. Looking to get recruited? Director Chris Cameron keeps an open dialogue with the nation's top college lacrosse coaches. Over 400 New Hampshire Tomahawks alumni have played at the college level, including the ACC, Big East, Big Ten, Ivy, NESCAC, NE10, and more. New Hampshire Tomahawks coaching staff has over 100 coaches, including current high school, varsity, and college coaches. The Tomahawks offer training for players of all ages, clinics, camps, and leagues, along with spring, summer, and fall elite teams. So play with the best. The New Hampshire Tomahawks, showcase and development for college lacrosse. Visit NewHampshireTomahawks.com and girls.nhtomahawks.com. How can you reach your team's fundraising goals at no risk and no cost? MG Sports offers a variety of products to make your team's fundraiser a success. Their products include tickets and discount cards to hundreds of local businesses. MG Sports now has a digital platform where athletes can raise funds in the comfort and safety of their own home. So become another lacrosse program like Bedford, Goffstown, or Memorial that sets fundraising records every season. MG Sports, fundraising made easy. Visit mgsportsfundraising.com to start raising money for your team today.
Welcome back here to FNL Lacrosse, week number 4 edition. We're presented by the New Hampshire Tomahawks here on Friday Night Lights New Hampshire. Nick and Astis with Chris Cameron. Coming up in about 10-15 minutes, friend of the show, Chad Viser, Portsmouth head coach, on the eve of the war with Derryfield. We got Caleb Young in the bullpen, ready to step in, Coach. He's one of your seniors on his way to Stony Brook. What can you tell us about him before we bring him on?
Wait till you ask him what he's going to go on to study. It's very, very interesting. So I'll just tease that. I'm not going to give it up. So Caleb's been a 4-year varsity player. His brother, Dylan, was a captain for us the year before. Just a high character leader. He leads by example, as well as this year he's turned into a vocal leader. And he's been our guy. Last year we basically had 4 first line middies with Connor Gabord, Connor Bouvier, and Timmy Kiley all playing Division I right now. He was part of that mix. We basically ran 4 guys on line 1. And he was a part of the offense. Now him along with Brady Dumont is the key to our offense. As you saw, like he's scoring a lot, not just goals, getting a lot of assists. He's a do-it-all midfielder. Like he's our number 1 defensive player too. And I've seen him during the summers in 90-degree heat where he doesn't want to leave the field. So I told him and the team, I got to do a better job, not burning you out, because there were parts of that game where we lost to Staples by a goal. and we lost. We were in the game late for St. John's, and I didn't let him come off the field. I needed him on the field and doing wings, playing defense. He's our best defensive midi as well as our best offensive midi. So we ask a lot of him, and he's tough. He's gritty. He does it all, and at the next level, he might have to be like a wing guy, a D midi to start before he's a two-way and then an offensive midi. But he's capable of doing it all. Strong lefty, and that's kind of the way that's how he won the game versus Bedford. I mean, their defense was great. We weren't able to penetrate them at all for an extended period of time, and he was just the guy that put the team on his shoulders and got us that win over Bedford. And that's the way he is. The pressure doesn't get to him. He loves the moment, and he loves being on the field. And he's a team first guy.
Let's bring him in. Without any further ado, Caleb Young, senior from Bishop Girton. Caleb, good evening. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I see you're repping the Seawolves already, huh?
Yeah. Super excited.
They need him.
That's the Stony Brook logo there on the sweatshirt. We'll get to the NCAA portion of the interview in a moment, but I want to start with something Coach just said, how he's noticed you become more of a vocal leader now that you're a senior. Was that something you were aware of, that characterization, or is that something that just kind of came about naturally, or did you make that a point of emphasis this year?
Yeah, we had great leadership last year that I really learned a lot from. We had 7 captains, all were very vocal in their own way. So I took a lot from them. My brother was kind of a more quiet captain, and then we had leaders like Connor Gabord that were more vocal. So I've kind of took that role to be a little more vocal and help lead some of the younger kids by example.
You mentioned your brother there, Dylan, who graduated last year. What's your relationship like with him? I'd imagine you guys were close growing up.
Yeah, we've always battled. Love him to death. He plays defense. I play offense. So love practicing with him. Love having him around the house. He comes home this weekend. So super excited to see him.
Coach just gave you some pretty good props there. Said you're the best offensive midi and best defensive midi. Which do you prefer?
Definitely offense. Love playing defense. Love talking, scrapping it up on defense, but I also love scoring. So if I had to choose, it'd probably be offense.
Is that a satisfactory answer, Coach?
Great answer. But I knew what the answer was. I knew what the answer was certainly going to be. So, Caleb, I teased a little bit about what you're going to study. I'm going to let Nick bring that in later. But, with your brother, you said Dylan is a quiet leader, and you were quiet. Now you stepped up. Great. And Caleb also has a younger brother, AJ, who's a 26, who's one of, like, if not number 1, number 2 face-off guys in the country. So it's a great lacrosse family, and the parents, Margie and Jason, supported them since they were, I remember as second graders, the 3 of you doing lessons up at Joppa for days on end. And the parents supported their commitment, their drive to be great, and they certainly are. So you had lots of options. You had options. You played for Coach Soames is his coach now. He also had Coach Moyer for years on the New Hampshire Tomahawks 24 Purple team. So you learned a lot from those guys. But tell us a little about why Stony Brook, and because we haven't sent that many players there. But tell us what interested you there, and then the ultimate commitment.
Yeah, for sure. They recruited me kind of out of the gate after the summer, and they were really interested in me as a player, and that interest kind of compelled me to go on visits there. And so my first visit, I went with my dad, and we loved the facilities there. Great indoor turf, great stadium field, and the coach is just a great guy, Coach Gilardi. Very approachable, but he's a very competitive guy, so he'll get on you if you're not working, but always available to talk after practice and stuff is what I heard a lot from the other guys there. And definitely when I went on the second visit with my mom, she loved the academic side of it too. They're going to be the flagship of New York. So big science school, and I'm going to go study biology there. So definitely that like piqued my interest and kind of helped me decide that I wanted to go there.
So is
growing
that
up
the
on Long
major?
Island. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Is
my
that the
major's
major,
probably gonna
Caleb? Biology?
yeah.
Now, how'd you fall into that?
So I have like I kind of want to be a vet when I'm older. So I've like talked with my parents and like some of our academic counselors about that path, and we discussed that that's probably the best major for me to start in. So
What's your favorite animal?
definitely dogs. I have 3 dogs, so I absolutely
Good
love
answer.
them.
Great answer.
Yeah, they're the best.
Great answer. The right answer, right there. Coach, I know you had something about Long Island there.
Oh yeah, growing up Long Island, Stony Brook it was considered so far out, and you never went out there, and it was just kind of a campus that there were a few buildings. Now when you go out there, it's incredible what they've done. Caleb mentioned that it's going to the flagship school in New York, and it's incredible. Their facilities, their campus, it's right near the water. The athletic facilities, it's a first class university right now. So it's a special place, and I can see why Caleb chose it.
Was that a big draw, Caleb? The campus at Stony Brook?
Yeah, it's pretty open. It's pretty big. They've got like 15,000 students, so definitely it was. I saw some of the buildings; they're state of the art, real classy. So that definitely helps with the commitment.
Finally, you've got Exeter coming up tomorrow in a rematch. I want you to play Coach Cameron for a minute. What are some of the things that need to go right for you guys to get another win tomorrow?
Taking some things from the last game, good shots on Burnich. He's a good goalie, so we're just going to continue to get good shots on him. And, on defense, they got 2 really good guys, Owen and Marshall. So definitely trying to find those guys early on and try to take them out of the game and just play with a lot of energy. We've played with a lot of energy early this week, and I just hope we carry it on to this game.
Bonus question, because I forgot to ask you earlier. The name of the 3 dogs.
I got Billy, Richard, and Quincy.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
I named Richard. That took me a long time to name that. Yeah, they're great.
Good stuff. Caleb, good luck the rest of the year. Good luck down on Long Island at Stony Brook next year. And we certainly appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. That's Caleb Young, senior midfielder for Bishop Girton and a future veterinarian here on FNL Lacrosse. Coach, he seems like a great kid. Obviously, lacrosse in his DNA there, playing with his older brother, Dylan. And you touched on some of his attributes, both on and off the field earlier. But how does he exactly fit in with what you guys are trying to do moving forward? You already threw a bunch of new responsibilities on him. Can he maintain these kind of grinding minutes? And how big are his shoulders, and what kind of a weight do you expect him to carry moving forward?
Yeah, I know he can. The grinding minutes he can and he will. Like he'll never say no, I'm too tired. I've never ever heard him say that. It's more you got to be like Caleb, get off the field. He kind of loses like when it's time for middies to sub out. He would kind of all of a sudden couldn't hear you. Timmy Kiley was also very infamous for that. But he never never likes to leave the field. But that's my job to make sure that I don't burn him out. We're trying to develop depth, but it's very easy to just leave him out there all day long. But we got to keep him as fresh as we can in game, and also so that he's fresh come June 8th if we're fortunate enough to make it there. One thing that I didn't mention, last year, him and his brother Dylan were both academic All-Americans. So, this year, I think he's one of the leading candidates for All-American. I mean, he's academics shows that you're not just a great player, but you are at the highest level of students. And he's a combination of both.
Good stuff. All right. Chad Viser joining us now as we switch gears a bit. The Portsmouth head coach has the Clippers atop the D2 standings. I believe he's ready. We'll bring him in just. There he is. Coach,
There he
how
is.
are you? Coach, can you hear us?
I'm ready.
You're breaking up a little bit, Coach. We'll see what
I'm
happens.
good. Thanks. How you doing? Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Oh, okay, we can hear you now. Good.
I can.
Okay. 9-0 out of the gate. Does that start surprise you at all, or you guys right on schedule to begin?
I don't know why it always happens to me.
It's just you.
All right, there we go.
Can you hear me now, Coach? Coach?
I say surprised me. I guess happy, that we were able to get through some of that we were recently. We were fortunate. We won. I got you.
All right, let's see if we can try to reconnect with Coach here. Let's see if the Wizard can dial him up on a better connection. But let's speak to the track record. Of course, he's one of the more accomplished coaches statewide, regardless of division. Had Portsmouth in the championship game for years on end. Finally got over the hump with a championship win back in 2021. They did it again in 22, and they almost did it a third time before losing an OT to Derryfield last year. But, Coach, we always like to use the word program, and it certainly applies to what he's done with Portsmouth.
Yeah, he's done a great job. He puts his time in with the youth program. The Seacoast is one of the best youth programs in the state. He does a good job of keeping his guys home. A lot of those kids have opportunities to potentially go to prep schools, but he's doing a good job of keeping the Macy Shones, the Zach Amends, Nick Smiths, Ben Purcell, keeping them home. So he's got a feeder program, and he has a system. He's a great coach in his own right, and he has Matt Balter. So he's got a very good staff, and they just keep doing it over and over again, year in and year out. And I watched them play against Exeter, and I was like, whoa, I was really impressed. I mean, last year I felt like there was a big separation but between Division I and Division II. But this year, beating Exeter, you could see they can play with anybody in Division I. They are a high-level, well-coached team.
Let's try this again. Coach, how are you? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm good.
Much better.
I apologize. I just got home from a game at Winnicott, and I'm here in the high school, which is like a dungeon here. So we literally just got off the bus, and we're trying to make do. So I've gone out to the gym. There's a massive track and field event here with, 20 buses. So there's kids everywhere. I hope that I have found a place that's relatively quiet. Sorry for the inconvenience there.
No, not at all. We appreciate you hustling to make it happen. And I think you found the sweet spot, Coach, so don't move for the next 5 or 10 minutes.
I swear,
9-0.
Miserable technology. Yeah, we're
9-0, Coach. You got to be pretty pleased with that start. Does that surprise you, or is that meeting expectations?
I would say meeting expectations. Today's win moves us up to 10-0. I don't know. I don't ever think that we're going to be 10-0. I think that we have some really tough teams out here that play us well. Timberlane, STA, going against Winnicott is always kind of a battle of two neighboring towns, and then of course to beat Exeter. So to say, yeah, I expected to be 10-0. No. To say that I thought we would be pretty good this year and we're living up to the quality that I'd hoped for, yes. So I don't think quite 10-0 was my anticipation, but to have a pretty solid team, I thought that we'd be doing all right this early in the season.
Yeah. You've got a special group of seniors, it seems like, with a lot of experience at a lot of different positions. And this is a group of, I'd imagine, would be hungry after losing in overtime last year in the championship against your rival Derryfield. How does this senior class stand out? You've been doing this a long time, over 2 decades, but how are they special in their own right this year, this group of seniors in 2024?
Well, I think the number one thing is the fact that they've been doing it together for 4 years. In particular, Lucas Patton, Zach Amend is kind of and Nick Smith are our three highlight guys. Andrew Timmerman is our fourth senior. So we've got four seniors. We're very confident in all of them. They've all been in the program for 4 years. Of course, Zach and Nick get kind of all the accolades. Lucas shouldn't be overlooked. He's kind of our grinder, dirty work guy, if you will. He's going into the Marine Corps here in about 3 months, and he brings that attitude. Zach is very difficult to stop, and Nick gets us the ball a lot at faceoffs. So it's a nice combination. They've been working together and playing together since their youth, and it shows. It shows on the field, but their ability and the manner in which they speak to one another off the field, and the way that all three of them are captains, along with Macy Schoen as our fourth guy as a captain, and the four of them have the ability and the willingness to talk to each other, settle each other down, rile each other up, and that's just off of the relationship they have off the field, which carries a lot of weight when they get on the field.
Yeah. Well, Coach Cameron touched on it earlier. And of course, we've discussed this on this program before, but if you would just elaborate a little bit on your relationship with the youth programs, with the middle schools, the junior highs, et cetera. It seems like you've been able to build a culture, not just within the walls of the high school, but within the city of Portsmouth itself. How important are those relationships, and how do they continue to develop?
Yeah, they've been key, and I think they're key to the success of our program. It's not by any stretch just myself, Dan DeTola, Nick Smith, Nick Allen, Brian Amend, Zach's dad has been working a long time. There's many more that are not. Those are the old guards, and there's new guards, and we've been working hard at working with that youth program. We do a lot of clinics. I have my boys do clinics, and the girls for that matter. I have two daughters that are coming through the middle school. So when I'm done coaching the boys, I often go over and work the girls, and it's a culture thing. It's something. There's expectations from the community. There's expectations from our players and our coaches. I think we definitely work on fundamentals. We try to keep it light. We try to get kids going. When I showed up here 17 years ago, we had youth program, but a lot of dads and moms that were working didn't have a lacrosse background. And now we've really tried to work. We've gotten some of our players. Peter Hamlet's working with players. Oscar Kozakowski's working with our youth. We're really trying to get those college kids and ex-college kids to come back. Cole Brahms will be back in the area working in the next couple of weeks, and that's been big. And then from the girls' side, it's the same. We have the Parker girls are doing it. Runkey girls are working with it. Mary Squire's daughter and son have come back, and just trying to build that culture and show the kids that if you stick with it, you work hard in the fundamentals, that you can have a good future, whether that means collegiate play or just having an enjoyable experience here at the high school. That's our big thing, is trying to build that Clipper culture.
Coach?
Coach, so it's the hype of the season, the rematch of Derryfield and Portsmouth. You know, we're hyping it up here on the show. It's going to be the FNL game next week, for good reason. I mean, it's two great teams going at it. How much stock do you put in a regular season game, knowing there's a good chance that you might face Derryfield again, whether it be the semifinals or the finals? How important is the regular season game to you and your players?
I would say that it's important for us to have to stay within the same, stay within reaching distance of them, whether we win or lose. As you said, I mean, of course we want to win, but we want to be able to show and prove ourselves and prove to Derryfield that whether they were to win or to, if we're fortunate enough to win, that we do it in style that we know, hey, this is going to come back a second time. Of course, I'd love to beat somebody by 20 and really put it in mentality, but that's not going to happen. We know that's not going to happen. I mean, we have been playing each other for years, and there really hasn't been very many games, especially in recent history, more than 2 to 4 goals at the most. So, yeah, our boys know each other. They played with each other. They know that it's coming together. Our coaching staff knows that their coaching staff is an excellent, excellent coaching staff. And whatever we show or do here in a week, both coaching staffs are gonna tinker with it. And hopefully, if we do see each other in the playoffs, I would imagine that we'll give each other different wrinkles. But it'll definitely give us an opportunity to kind of see where we are. They're the high standard in Division II lacrosse, and for that matter, in all of New Hampshire lacrosse. So for us to be able to compete with them and to continue to work against them and be in the same category as them says a lot. I'm proud of that, and we're going to do our best to try to compete as best as possible next week, and then recognize that we'll probably see a little different things as the season goes on with the playoffs.
That has become a marquee rivalry for sure over the last handful of years. And I'd imagine that there's a strong mutual respect with your counterpart, Chris Hetler. What is your relationship like with Coach, and how do you assess this rivalry in your own words? Is it overblown, or is this, is there really something there?
I mean, it's a rivalry because we've been in the either semifinals or the finals for, I would almost say, the majority of the last 10 years. We've had to see them prior to COVID. They absolutely were kind of the end of the road and a wall that I didn't think we were going to ever be able to get over. Recently, since COVID, we've been able to have some success against them. I believe we've won majority of the games with them, but between Chris Hetler and I, there's a lot of mutual respect. I think he's an excellent coach. We're good friends outside of the lacrosse field. We talk. I talked to him today for a while. We bounced things back and forth. We were talking about lacrosse and then talking about being a parent. Of course, Chris is a younger dad than I am. And, it's not just X's and O's when Chris and I talk. And, we were just talking about coaching and balancing that with parents and or being parents and hopefully good husbands and trying to take care of both sides of the thing. So it's not just X's and O's. There's definitely a mutual respect. For me and our program to be in the category of Dairy Field is something that I'm proud of. And I think our coaching staff is very proud of. As far as the rivalry being overblown, I don't know that it's overblown, but it's not so much a rivalry where we want to beat them because we don't like them. We want to beat them because we admire them and we think they're the gold standard for the state. And for that matter, a lot of the teams are. A lot of our top Division II teams in those Division I. So that's why it's so nice when we get to go play some of those stronger teams to see where we size up.
Yeah. Final question, Coach. Is your daily schedule just as hectic as the last time we talked, or have you dialed it back a notch?
Well, that's kind of a long story. This spring started off with an interesting. About 4 days before lacrosse season, I broke 3 ribs skiing. So I'm physically unable. I'm unable to fly. I'm going to be able to go back and do some flying here in about a couple of weeks when they kind of clear me out there. So I tripped over. Well, the tree got in my way and flipped over, and that made for a tough beginning of the season from a coaching point of view. Still definitely hurts. I'm not able to do everything that I want to be able to do. It's getting better. The doctors have cleared me to go back to work, but still coaching all my daughter's teams. I'll be coaching girls lacrosse all weekend, and it's what I like to do. Just like Chris Cameron, Chris Hetler, a lot of the coaches and a lot of the people that have dads or have children in the youth program, we're doing it a lot. And quite honestly, that's where I'd like to be. I'd rather be there than I would be sitting on my couch watching a movie.
Playing hurt. We appreciate that over here, Coach. Thank you very much for joining us, and good luck next week as well, as we're looking forward to that showdown a week from tonight. We appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me on there, and look forward to next week's games and the rest of the weeks, in the weeks ahead. So I appreciate it.
All right. Coach, thank you. And again, Chad Viser, one of my favorite interviews. Pilot, of course, as we know. Coach, I didn't know about the rib injury, but that has not slowed him down on the sidelines, obviously.
Yeah, he's got Coach Balter to warm up the goalies for him. So I'm going to be busy next Thursday. We have Zavarian coming to Stellos. So when I get home that night, I'll be able to – it's going to be tough to not – you've been there. You don't want to get a score, right, because you want to watch the game in its entirety. So, without knowing the result. So I'm going to try not to put my phone on, just go, put it away.
Immediate blackout. Immediate blackout.
Yep.
There you go.
Go home and watch that game because I don't want to be spoiled. I don't want any spoilers there. So, and then I got Coach Callie Santos to commit to coming on next Tuesday before the big showdown with Bedford. And we'll reveal our guests next week. But she committed to coming on. So, and Christine Hodgson, she's always a friend of the program. Always good to have on. So maybe we could try to get her on as well because that's a great week next week. Two great games. And then on the college side of things, Coach Bowie Drew mentioned that, this is the year for St. Anselm. They had a big win over Pace yesterday. They were down down by a goal, tied it, and won in the last minute. So they traveled to Adelphi for the NE10 championship, which is exciting for New Hampshire lacrosse. Unfortunately, Riv got upset, knocked out in the semis yesterday. And then from a personal, Princeton beat Yale last week, and they have a rematch tomorrow in the semifinals of the Ivy League tournament. So that's a big one. This is the time of year, and there's a lot of games going on tonight. You have a lot of the conference tournaments. You have Matt Licata, who's a Timberland grad. He had a great year for Villanova this year. They're up on Denver right now. You got Michigan Hopkins. So this is a great time of year for lacrosse fans, not just on the college side, but there's some great college games, and we really appreciate the coverage that FNL does for all the fans out there. The numbers are through the roof. People love watching that Bedford game.
Yeah, it's been a great start. It's been a good first month, a good first half of the regular season, and we're excited for what lies ahead for sure. Want to thank our guests tonight, Allison Jordan, the senior from Souhegan, Caleb Young, the senior from Bishop Girton, and, of course, Chad Viser, the head coach from Portsmouth. Reminder, we are back on the air Tuesday, a night early next week, 6 o'clock Eastern Time, FNL Lacrosse, presented by the New Hampshire Tomahawks. And then back-to-back Game of the Week broadcasts. Wednesday, we are in Bedford as the Bulldogs host Bishop Girton on the girls' side. That's a 5:30 start. Thursday, the highly anticipated Division II showdown between Derryfield and Portsmouth. For Chris Cameron and the man behind the curtain, our director, Ben Beals, executive producer, Steve Beals, and our sponsors, Beals Insurance, the New Hampshire Tomahawks, and MG Sports Fundraising. I am Nick Anastas. We'll see you next week. This has been FNL Lacrosse, presented by the New Hampshire Tomahawks.